Hi, I'm Max Good, Keeper of the Flame and Director of Equipment Reviews at AmazingRibs.com. And you are thinking of getting a smoker. Congratulations! Folks like you are discovering they can make better smoked meats at home than most restaurants. When it comes to ribs, brisket, and pulled pork, nothing beats a bona fide dedicated smoker. Some smoker designs are inherently easier to control than others. Some are capable of high temperature grilling, some are not. Some burn gas, others burn logs or charcoal. But all should be able to hit and hold a set cooking temperature until your smoked delicacies are done. In the case of long, low, and slow cooks like brisket, that may mean overnight. Problem is, there are so many designs in all shapes, sizes, and price ranges, you can get lost in a fog when trying to choose. We're here to help. In this video, we'll touch on a few major considerations, then briefly review a collection of popular smoker designs. The selection of large catering and restaurant equipment is vast. This video will focus on residential models. After viewing, head over to AmazingRibs.com for extensive detail on smokers, smoking techniques, recipes, and find out why Forbes magazine calls us the world's leading outdoor cooking resource. So what is a smoker? A smoker is an oven with smoke. Smoke is the magic ingredient that sends your senses reeling. Smoke is what differentiates barbecue from other types of cooking. Most classic smoky barbecue recipes require low and slow cooking at around 225 degrees Fahrenheit for long durations. This breaks down chewy meats and turns tough connective tissues into succulent, buttery gelatin, while caressing foods with smoky flavor and aroma and leaving a tasty brown crust known as bark on meat surfaces. Whatever model you choose, the smoke will come from burning either wood or charcoal. You generate smoke on gas and electric models by placing wood chunks or chips over the gas burners or electric coils. Both gas and electric smokers will hold your desired cooking temperature effortlessly. All you have to do is occasionally add more wood. However, smokers that use wood logs or charcoal as fuel for heat are harder to operate. That's because maintaining a wood or charcoal fire at low temps is tricky. The fire can run away and get too hot, producing dry, tough, overcooked meat, or smolder and baste your food with a nasty, bitter, oily substance called creosote. Dirty, creosote-laden smoke isn't an issue with gas and electric smokers, which provide clean heat and just use a small amount of wood for flavor. But getting clean, sweet smoke from charcoal and especially wood logs while holding low temperature requires skill and concentration. In a minute, we'll present a brief overview of smokers and touch on basic characteristics of the various designs. No doubt you'll want to take a close look at the ones that catch your eye. A great place to start is with our AmazingRibs.com searchable equipment reviews. So first, let's have a little instruction about how to search our reviews and easily obtain detailed information on the many different models in our smoker database. Go to AmazingRibs.com. In our red navigation bar at the top of your screen, click Product Ratings and Reviews. Scroll down to our ratings and reviews of grills and smokers. And here you'll see our search options on the left. If there's a particular manufacturer you like, you can select them. Right now we're looking for a smoker. If you really want a Kamado or pellet smoker, select one of these boxes. But let's just select smoker to pull up our ratings and reviews of all smokers, including Kamados and pellet smoker. Next, the big question, what's your price range? As with any buying decision, price is an important factor. Certain smoker designs are generally less expensive than others. Since we'll be looking at a lot of different models, let's cast a wide net and go for everything under $2,000. Click Search and let's get smoking. Search options on mobile devices are on the bottom rather than the left side. Scroll down to search on mobile. We'll start with the granddaddy of all smokers, log or stick burning offsets. These big black horizontal barrels are the stuff legends are made of. Few dispute that stick burners in the hands of a skilled pit master or mistress produce the pinnacle of traditional smoked meats. Key word here is skilled. We know why you want one. It looks so cool. It says, "I'm serious about barbecue." And you can get a starter offset at your favorite hardware store for under $200. Sounds great, huh? But hold your fire. Offsets require more skill and attention than any other smoker design, and the cheap ones are frustration in a box. What seems like a starter smoker to the wide-eyed novice often becomes an ender smoker when the frazzled wannabe finally drags that tin can to the curb. That's why we break offsets into two categories. Expensive offset smokers, also known as EOS, and cheap offset smokers, COS. High-quality offsets are typically made with heavy 1/4 inch thick steel. They have tight construction that enables effective control of air intake and exhaust via adjustable dampers on the firebox and chimney. Oxygen feeds the fire. Control air and you control temperature. Dial in your target temperature on a quality offset, and once that heavy metal heats up, it will hold that temperature as long as you tend the wood fire in the firebox on the side. And tend the fire you will. If you have an aversion to babysitting, you should probably skip forward to our next segment. By the way, that's why they're called offsets. The heat source is offset from the cook box. This provides indirect heat and allows you to tend the fire without disrupting the smoke box environment. Cheap offsets, made with thin metal and loose lids and dampers, leak heat and smoke like a sieve, making temperature control a nightmare. You end up fighting that big tin can, trying to wrangle it into submission instead of concentrating on the fine points of barbecue, like how to produce clean, sweet smoke. Some folks with a lot of time on their hands get a kick out of going back and forth to the hardware store, buying parts to modify their COS, and help it work okay. If that clicks your clock, knock yourself out. But to those frugal do-it-yourselfers, I say, tally up the hardware receipts and time spent, then consider, should you have just bit the bullet and bought a good stick burner that would have outsmoked your cheap contraption from the get-go? No matter how good one gets a COS to work, an EOS in the same hands will be easier to use and produce better results. Cheap offsets. Don't buy them. One outlier that bears mention here is the Kuro Baku, a brilliant invention that enables the greenest novice to smoke with wood and get results that rival a wizened Texas pit boss right out of the box. It's a vertical cabinet smoker with slide-out racks inside. Rather than placing the fire on the side or bottom, Kuro Baku burns wood on top of the cabinet. You have to feed the fire every 30 minutes, but Kuro Baku does the rest. A thermostatically controlled fan system sucks heat and smoke from above into the cookbox. Nasty, bitter impurities in the smoke burn up as it is pulled through the red-hot fire, allowing only sweet, clean, perfect smoke to touch your foods. The result is ambrosia. Curious? By now you know what to do. Our full detailed review of Kuro Baku is at your fingertips. Before moving on, I'd like to take a moment to talk about thermometers. Almost every smoker and grill comes with an old-fashioned analog thermometer planted in the hood. Even if these cave-era heat estimators were accurate, they're usually located high above the cook surface and are routinely off by 50 to 100 degrees. You absolutely need accurate, modern digital thermometers. A digital thermometer is the most important tool in a cook's arsenal. This holds true no matter what smoker or grill you choose. Thermometers save lives and money. They are the only reliable way to determine if food is safe and if you are cooking too hot or too cold. This is especially important when cooking meat at low temperatures for several hours. Start using digital thermometers and watch your barbecue game improve overnight as you consistently serve safe, delicious foods on time, every time. Don't worry, we've got searchable reviews for them too. Kamados have enjoyed increased popularity for the last several years. These large insulated egg-shaped cookers are sold as grill/smoker combos, but most are much better at smoking than grilling. That's because the majority of Kamados cannot be effectively set for two-zone cooking with a hot direct zone and a moderate indirect zone. Furthermore, they are really well insulated and especially good at holding a steady temp even in cold weather, which is great for long, low and slow smoking sessions. But once you crank them up for searing, you're stuck with a super hot grill for hours until those thick walls slowly cool off. The Big Green Egg is the most famous of the lot. Eggs in most other models are made of heavy ceramic, but this fast-growing category now includes inexpensive steel eggs, like the popular Char Griller Acorn and Char Broil's Commander. One of our favorite ceramic models is the Primo Oval XL. The large oval shape makes it better suited for two-zone cooking than most round egg-shaped devices. More companies are experimenting with designs that accommodate two-zone setups and offering a variety of accessories from rotisseries to gas burner inserts. Nothing beats a pellet smoker for ease of use and consistently great results. That's because they have a thermostat inside that regulates temperature by feeding wood pellets to a fire pot as needed to maintain your set temp. The pellets are made of compressed sawdust with no binders. They burn very clean, producing light smoke without any creosote to speak of. They truly work just like your kitchen oven, only outdoors and smoky. Just set your desired temp and walk away. You can even throw on pork butts at night, then hit the hay and sleep like a baby, knowing you'll wake up to delicious smoked meat. These electric-powered smokers used to be pretty obscure with only a handful of brands. Now the dam has burst, and everybody and their brother is knocking my door down, wanting us to test and review their new models. Prices and features are all over the place. Some low-cost models can be found for a few $100, while mid to high-end products that feature sophisticated technology with Wi-Fi connectivity and apps that allow remote control and monitoring are proliferating. Like Kamados, they are commonly called pellet grills, although most are really smokers and cannot effectively sear meats like a high-temperature gas or charcoal grill. But that's changing. Some models have small sear zones or gas sear burners, and more manufacturers are finding ways to extend the high-temperature ranges of their designs, aiming to offer an all-in-one pellet smoker and grill. We occasionally hear complaints from those who feel that clean-burning pellet smoke is too mild for their tastes. Taste is a matter of taste. Pellet smoke is indeed less pronounced than smoke from charcoal or wood. However, the rapidly rising popularity of pellet smokers suggests that, for most people's tastes, this is not an issue. Vertical gas smokers are relatively inexpensive, easy to use, and produce mighty good smoked foods. Consequently, like their gas grill cousins, they are very popular. Tall and slender, verticals usually have 3, 4, or more slide-out racks that provide a lot of capacity while taking up very little space on your deck. They don't get hot enough to do any grilling, but have no problem reaching mid-range temperatures that do a great job of finishing big hunks of meat and crisping poultry skin. Smoke flavor comes from wood chips, chunks, or pellets placed over the gas burner. Vertical gas smokers typically have one large burner at the bottom. Above the burner is a wood pan where smoke is generated, and above that, a water pan. Some models have two doors, a large smoke box door for access to your food, and a small door on the bottom for replenishing wood and water without disturbing the cooking chamber. Most are thin metal and the doors are loose, so they leak heat and smoke. That means you'll burn a little more gas and wood chips than pricier insulated units, but the leaks really don't impact food quality, just fuel efficiency. Gas smokers run on standard 20-pound LP tanks and don't require access to electricity as do pellet and electric smokers. This makes them portable and easy to use on your deck and beyond. Make sure to keep a spare tank on hand because half-used tanks have a bad habit of running out right in the middle of a 5-hour cooking session. Many verticals are too narrow to fit a full slab of ribs or a whole brisket on a rack and require cutting slabs and large hunks in half. If that bugs you, most brands make large models with wide racks. Charcoal burners with similar vertical cabinet designs are also available. They burn charcoal in a rack at the cabinet bottom and typically have an ash pan under the charcoal and a water pan above it. Like the wood burning offsets described at the start of this video, vertical charcoal smokers need heavy, tight construction for effective temperature control. Not surprisingly, the good ones cost more than comparative gas cabinets. And they take just a bit more skill, kind of like the difference between grilling on gas versus grilling on charcoal. Not as tough to master as stick burning offsets, you just need to pay a bit more attention and probably a bit more money than folks using vertical gas smokers. Upright barrel smokers burn charcoal in a rack at the bottom of the barrel. Some owners like to add wood chunks, but you may find that's not necessary. Barrels easily settle in at higher temperatures than the 225-degree range that was traditionally sought for low and slow smoking. And they're gaining popularity for hot and fast smoking at around 300 degrees. Though they aren't heavily insulated and some have limited air control, surprisingly they aren't any harder to use than other charcoal smokers and can churn out smoked delicacies like ribs and brisket in record time with excellent results. You can cook on round grates inside the barrel, but hanging meats from bars at the top is popular, effective, and provides ample capacity. These babies are rib machines, and you can hang a lot of slabs inside. If you're wondering, Max, doesn't the tail end of a slab down by the burning charcoal at the bottom get overdone or even burnt? Well, long slabs can get a little toasty on the end, but the results are amazingly uniform. The heat and smoke flows up from the bottom, then bounces off the lid and heads back down, creating a constant circular pattern in the tall, round barrel. We think of this effect as a stationary rotisserie. Rather than move the meat over the heat on a spinning spit, barrels move the heat over the stationary meat. It works. Not long ago, you couldn't easily buy one and had to make your own. That's how they got the nickname of ugly drum smokers, or UDS for short. That ugly old name is fading into the sunset though, as professionally made barrels in different sizes, colors, and with a variety of features are gaining a place in the smoker arena. Charcoal burning bullet smokers, also known as water smokers, are called bullets because they are tube-shaped with a dome lid on top. You can get cheapo bullets for under $100, but they are a real pain because the air control is poor and, you guessed it, that makes temperature control difficult. Bullets usually have a large water pan at the bottom between the charcoal fire and the food to help stabilize and moderate heat, add humidity, and it's a great way to catch drippings for gravy. However, some bullet aficionados don't use water. And some like to fill the water pan with sand or gravel instead, which reduces heat fluctuations. They typically have 2 round cooking grates, one at the top and one down low right above the water pan. A small door on the side provides limited access to the lower cooking grate, water pan, and charcoal grate. This design has been around for many years. The good ones are very good indeed, and many folks swear by them. Electric smokers are very popular because they can be set it and forget it simple. Some models even have digital thermostatic control with Wi-Fi remote capability like modern pellet smokers. To get smoke, wood is placed above the electric heating element at the bottom. The food is good, but when you taste it alongside food smoked with logs, charcoal, gas, or pellets, it's almost always lacking something. That's because the heat comes from electric coils and not combustion, and those combustion gases make all the difference when it comes to flavor. Because they don't need a lot of oxygen to feed a fire, their air intake and exhaust vents are small, resulting in low airflow and high humidity, which produces moist food but hampers production of bark, that tasty brown finish on smoked meat surfaces. And most electrics just don't have enough power to get into mid-temperature roasting. Great for smoking light foods like cheese, nuts, jerky, and fish, but not so much for ribs, turkeys, and pork butts. If you have an electric smoker and love it, you're no doubt getting mad watching this. Let me be clear. We think electric smokers make delicious food, but wood, pellets, charcoal, and gas make food that is even more delicious. On the other hand, an electric smoker is better than no smoker, especially if you're in an apartment or condo where they won't let you have live fire. And there you have it. Other smoker designs exist, but these are the most common types you'll likely encounter when shopping. Forbes calls AmazingRibs.com by far the leading resource for barbecue and grilling information. So come on and check out our news, tested recipes, technique and science, product ratings and reviews, barbecue competition info, tailgating, barbecue history and culture. And if you still want more after all that, then you're a candidate for our Pitmaster Club. Be amazing. Try a free trial membership. You'll be glad you did. AmazingRibs.com, the biggest, baddest barbecue website in the world.